Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to do player movement in Pygame, and in this tutorial series I'll show you how to create this game in a few different videos. This video will show you how to create a player and how to move it around the screen. In the next video I'll show you how to add velocity and friction to that player. So the way this game works is you collect the cookies and you try to not get hit by the enemies. It's rather difficult when you have multiple enemies, and I'll show you how to create more than 2 enemies. It's very easy. So if you hit one of the enemies, we just X out of the program. We can create an end screen later, but for now, it's good enough. Anyway, so let's get rid of that. Here's our Pygame template that I created in the past, or I'll show a video. I'll have a link and a card here where you can find the video, and also you can download this template down in the description. I'll have a link. Anyway, we do need to make a few changes to this. So one thing we need to do is we need to add an import, and that's because we need to add this one after Pygame. Doesn't really matter which order you do it, but we need to add this. You can just type it in from pygame.locals import asterisk. And this will allow us to check for the event.type quit. Now, I forgot to mention this in the explanation video on this, but you're gonna need to do that. Yeah, and just for the sake of this tutorial, we're also gonna need random. So after system, you can put in import random, and we'll use that in future videos, but we'll just have it here now. So we do need to change one more thing, and that is we need to put the colors, and we just need to put this up right after the import statements so that we can use it when we change the game options. And yeah, we can just, yeah, stuff like that. Okay, now we need to think about how we're going to create our player. So the player needs to have a few properties, and that is width, height, color, and we'll do some other stuff later. But for now, just width, height, and color. So after, in our game options, we can create a new section called player. And in here, we need to define player width, player height, and of course, player color. Like so. And we need to make sure, well, I want the player width and player height to be 50-50, just so it's a square, and so it's nice and big, but nice and small, just kind of just right. So I'll just set these to 50, as well as player height 50, and then our color we can set to white. You can set this to really any color you want to if you have defined it, or you can just do an individual RGB value, but I'm going to set it to white because that's kind of just simple, and it looks good. It's got nice contrast. Anyway, now that we have the attributes, the properties for the player, we need to define the location for the player, and we can put that in our variables, and we just need player X, and of course set that to 0 for now, and of course player Y. And this defines the location of our player. And right now we're just defining the actual variables, and I'm just setting them to 0 because that seems like a good starting location for now, just to prove a point. But anyway, we have pretty much all of the necessary stuff for the player. We'll worry about acceleration, velocity, and friction later. For now, I just want to create a player and create a rectangle. So to create a rectangle, we need to go down to the draw section right here. And what we need to do is type in pygame.draw.rect. And this, we can put some parentheses after that. This requires just a few arguments or stuff that we need to put in. The first one is the window. And this, like this window here, this is my window that I'm coding in right here. And it's just a window. And we've defined this window here, and we called it screen. So we can copy screen and just put it in here. Now, along with screen, we're also going to need a color and some stuff to tell us what size and where the player will be. So after screen, we need to do player color to define the color. I need to type this correctly. Color, player color. And then after this, we need a tuple, and this will house the player X, player Y, player width, and of course, player height. There we go. So now we have player X, player Y, player width, player height, along with screen and player color. So, in theory, this should create a player, a white rectangle. Now there is one more thing that I need to change to this template, and that is the icon. Now, currently, icon.png does not exist, and I can show you that. There is no icon.png. It's non-existent. So, what I'm just going to do is comment all this stuff about the icon out, because I don't have an icon. So I'll just comment that out, and then comment these two out. And that should get rid of all the icon stuff, and we can use that later when we want to put in an icon, but for now we don't need an icon. So let's run this and see if it works. I'll just press F5, and here's our window. You can see there's a white rectangle up here, and that's what we defined. So the next step is to move the rectangle around with the arrow keys. And this is pretty easy. All we need to do is check if the keys are being pressed. So in our game loop, in our update section, I think that's where it should go. Yeah, we need to find some stuff. So we can do keys equals pygame.key.getPressed, and this will get a list of all of the keys that are being pressed. So if we were to press the spacebar, then we could check if the spacebar was being pressed by checking if the spacebar was, just check if it was being pressed by looking at the keys variable. So now we need to have a few if statements. So we'll do if keys, and then we'll do k_left. If the left arrow key is being pressed, then we can do x, and then we'll do, if we want to go left. So in Pygame, left would be subtracting from the x coordinate. So what we can do is x equals, then x minus, and then we'll do our acceleration, we'll do our speed. So we can define a speed. We'll do player speed, player underscore speed, and x equals x minus player underscore speed. Now, this is a way to do it. We'll need to define player speed up here. So in game options, player, we'll do player speed. I did not spell that right. Player speed equals, and I'll just do 1 for now, and I'll move 1 pixel every frame. And yeah, so here we have x equals x minus player speed. This will work, but it's not the easiest way to do this. Instead, we can actually do x minus equals player speed. And you can do this in a few programming languages, including Python. And this will just do the same exact thing. It's just easier to do. So let's copy this for the right key. And we'll create a new line. If keys k_right. Make sure this is all caps. And then instead of subtracting the x coordinate, we need to add to the x coordinate. So instead of minus equals, we can do plus equals player speed. Now we can do the up and down. So I'll just copy both of these actually. Control C, go down, paste. Now we can do k up and k down. And then instead of using x, we can use y, because that's the vertical coordinate. And we can leave player speed the same. Right. So this should work now. Let's try and run it and see exactly what happens. Right. So here's our window. If I move the arrow keys, it gives us an error, and that is y is not defined. Oh, I know what I did. The problem is that this x and y is not actually a thing. It's supposed to be player underscore x, and I'll just copy the underscore. Right. It's supposed to be player underscore x and player underscore y. So this should work now. I'll grab this and we'll see. Yes, I can move the thing around with the arrow keys. I can move the player around with the arrow keys. Now, we need to deal with velocity and acceleration and all that stuff. And we'll do that in the next video. But for now, we now have a moving player and it's working just fine. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later. Bye.